Today we will discuss diffraction due to single slit for B.Tech first year students. So what is diffraction? The phenomena of bending of light around the corners of an obstacle and their spreading into the geometrical shadow of an object is called diffraction. So we will be studying in detail the distribution of light intensity resulting in dark and bright fringes, with either you call dark and bright fringes as maxima and minima. So we will study in detail about this diffraction pattern. So very common question asked is that give differences between the Fresnel class of diffraction and the Fraunhofer class of diffraction. So in Fresnel class, the source or screen, they both are at finite distance, whereas the source and screen are at infinite distance from the obstacle in Fraunhofer class. In Fresnel class, distances are important. In Fraunhofer, inclination is important. In Fresnel class of diffraction, wavefront incident is either spherical or cylindrical, and in Fraunhofer class, the wavefront is generally plane. Now let us have a look at the diagram which we will be using to study in detail about Fraunhofer diffraction at single slit. So for understanding this diagram, what we need to know is that the resultant of n harmonic motions of equal amplitude and period and the phases increasing in arithmetic progression, their resultant is given by A, which is amplitude, sine n, that is the n number of harmonics, del, this much of angular distance, divided by 2 upon sine del by 2. So actually you have to memorize this formula in order that we start deriving an expression for Fraunhofer diffraction at single slit. So just remember that the resultant of these waves which have got diffracted and their amplitude is A is given by this formula. Now let us understand this diagram of single slit first in detail. See, AB is one single slit. We have one source of light here, one lens L1 which will focus these rays, and these rays are going to get diffracted from these ends of the slit. So when they get diffracted from the ends of the slit, we put another lens here which will help us in converging these rays on the screen. Now at the center C, we will be having maximum intensity which will be followed by secondary maxima and minima for the diffraction pattern. The slit width AB is equal to A, and if we drop a perpendicular from A on BE as AG, this angle will be theta, and then BG will be given by AB sine theta, where AB is the slit width A. So this diagram can also, you can write a very short explanation of this diagram for your exams. Like you can say that the monochromatic light is incident normally on a narrow slit AB of width A and focused on screen of a diffraction pattern having alternate bright and dark fringes. Now we have to derive an expression for resultant intensity at P. At P we have to derive an expression here. What is the resultant intensity going to be? So what we do is we first find the path difference, and then phase difference is given by 2 pi by lambda into path difference. So the phase difference becomes equal to 2 pi by lambda into path difference A sine theta. Next, what we do is let width AB of the slit be divided into n equal parts, each being the source of secondary wavelet. Then amplitude of wave due to each part will be equal to small a, but their phases will vary gradually from 0 to 2 pi by lambda into A sine theta. So the path difference between the rays originating from points in AB will vary between 0 to A sine theta. Then we take the phase difference between the waves from any two successive parts of the slit AB as 1 upon n into 2 pi by lambda A sine theta equal to del. So from the theory of composition of n simple harmonic motions of equal amplitude, this formula I told you in the beginning, the resultant P at P will be given by R is equal to A sine n del upon 2 divided by sine del by 2. Now what you do is you put this del equal to 1 upon n into 2 pi by lambda A sine theta. This value of del you put in this expression here for R and solve it. This gets cancelled and assume alpha equal to pi A sine theta upon lambda. When we put this value of alpha, we get the expression for resultant intensity equal to A sine alpha upon sine alpha by n. We know that sine for small values sine theta tends to theta. So when n is large, this value will be less. Therefore, for large values of n, sine alpha upon n will tend to alpha by n. So R will become equal to NA sine alpha upon alpha. Here NA is equal to A, that is the resultant amplitude. We know that intensity is proportional to square of amplitude. Therefore, the resultant intensity at P will be proportional to square of the resultant amplitude. So it becomes I is equal to A square sine alpha upon alpha whole square. So intensity distribution due to Fraunhofer diffraction at single slit is given by this formula. Now, in order to find the position of maxima and minima, what we will do is we will expand sine alpha. We will open it with the alpha series, take alpha common, and this expression becomes equal to this much. So now with this, the maxima and minima, R becomes equal to this. R will be maximum if negative terms vanish in this equation, and alpha will be 0. So, and alpha, what had we assumed in the beginning? We had assumed alpha equal to pi by lambda A sine theta. That becomes equal to 0, or theta is 0 or sine 0 becomes equal to 0. So the maximum value of R at A, the center is A. This gives us the position of the central maxima for single slit diffraction pattern. Now for minimum intensity, sine alpha equal to 0, and these values will give us the position of minimum intensities. So when we put alpha equal to plus minus pi, plus minus 2 pi, plus minus 3 pi, n pi, etc., we get the position of minimum intensities. Now alpha we had assumed equal to pi A sine theta upon lambda, which is equal to plus minus n pi. So when we put the value here, we get A sine theta equal to plus minus n lambda. So this gives us the direction of the second, third, and so on minima. Secondary maxima, in addition to the principal maxima, we also get less intense secondary maxima equally spaced in our diffraction pattern spectra. In order to locate their position, we will differentiate this expression of intensity using mathematical formula d by dx of x to the power of n and d by dx of numerator by denominator. Once we differentiate it, and once differentiating it for minima, we equate it equal to 0, then either of these terms will be 0. So that means either sine alpha by alpha will be 0, or alpha, this term inside is going to be 0. So either of these two terms will satisfy the equation for 0. We will solve them further to get alpha cos alpha minus sin alpha is 0. So alpha is tan alpha. So the equation sin alpha equal to 0 gives the position of minima except when alpha is 0. Thus, the positions of secondary maxima will be given by alpha equal to tan alpha. Now, we solve for secondary maxima graphically by plotting y equal to alpha, which is a straight line passing through the origin inclined at an angle of 45 degree, and y equal to tan alpha. This will represent the tangent curve. So once we make this here, this is y equal to alpha at 45 degree and y equal to tan alpha. The position of intersection of these two curves will give us the position of the secondary maximas at alpha 3 pi by 2, 5 pi by 2, 7 pi by 2, etc., or numerically this value. So the direction of secondary maxima will be given by this for n equal to various values of 1, 2, 3, etc., like this. Then alpha a sin theta equal to plus minus 2n plus 1 lambda, and intensities, for finding the values of intensities, we will be putting alpha equal to 3 pi by 2, 5 pi by 2, 7 pi by 2, etc. Principal maxima or the central maxima will be given by alpha equal to 0. So the intensity of first secondary maxima we get by putting alpha equal to 3 pi by 2. So I1 is a square sine 3 pi by 2 square upon 3 pi by 2 square. You get either you put it as 4 by 9 pi square a square or a square upon 22. A square is your I naught intensity or the intensity of principal maxima. So you can write I1 is equal to I naught upon 22. And mathematically, if you solve 100 upon 22, it is equal to 4.5. So this way also you can do this question that I1 is 4.5% of I naught, or the intensity of the first secondary maxima is about 1/22th of the intensity of the central minima. And then the intensity of secondary maximum is for 5 pi by 2. We put 5 pi by 2 and we get this value as this much. So here it is 1.61%, the 5 pi by 2 value. Next, intensity of third secondary maxima, you again put the value 7 pi by 2. So this way you can notice that the graph for diffraction due to single slit is consisting of a central maxima of maximum intensity followed with secondary maxima and minima, and most of the light is concentrated in the central maxima. The diffraction pattern is consisting of a central maxima surrounded by minima of 0 intensity and less secondary maxima of rapidly decreasing intensity. Now, the spread of central diffraction maxima gives the direction of first minima is given by a sin theta is equal to plus minus lambda. For single slit, so sin theta is equal to plus minus lambda by a. So theta becomes sine inverse plus minus lambda by a. So central maxima is extending from theta equal to sine inverse lambda by a and theta equal to sine inverse minus lambda by a. So theta is the angular half width of the central maximum. If lens towards the screen is near the slit AB, or your screen is far away from the lens, then sine theta becomes equal to plus minus r upon f, where r is linear half width which we have taken, f is focal length of this lens L2. So linear half width of the central maximum and f is focal length of lens f2. We compare these two quantities and we get the width of central maxima as 2f lambda by a. So width of central maximum is, you can notice, directly proportional to lambda, and that is the reason why wavelength of red light, which is longer than that of violet light, spread of central maximum with red light is more than that of violet light. What is the effect of making the slit narrow? The first minimum on either side of central maximum occurs in the direction theta, which is given by a sine theta is plus minus lambda. So when the slit is narrowed by reducing a, the angle of diffraction theta increases, which means central maximum becomes wider. When a is equal to lambda, that is slit width is made equal to wavelength of light, the first minimum occurs at theta. So this is 90 degrees. Central maximum occupies the whole space in this case. So these are the two conditions which come up when we make the slit narrow. What were the important formulas in today's lecture? Intensity distribution due to Fraunhofer diffraction at single slit is given by a square sine alpha upon alpha square. Resultant intensities of the principal maxima are in the ratio 1:4/9 pi square is to 4/25 pi square. Width of central maxima is 2f by lambda by a, and first minima on either side of central maxima occurs in the direction given by a sine theta equal to plus minus lambda. The important questions that have been asked in the previous year papers are: distinguish between Fresnel and Fraunhofer class, derive an expression for intensity due to single slit.